Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas could be happening back on in February or later. This is interesting news. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. We back on this boxing talk. I had to take a little hiatus for a few days. Had to take care of some business, but we back here talking some boxing. So we have some interesting news and some more interesting news on top of it. As the unified champion at welterweight, Errol the True Spence Jr. Versus Yordenis Ugas, the WBA champion, could be happening in February. Now, we seen how the WBA has cock-blocked Yordenis Ugas from fighting Errol Spence Jr. in the unification bout. We seen Errol Spence Jr. even went to the WBA himself, and the WBA said, nah, Yordenis Ugas got to finish this title, and then we'll see what we go from there. So anyway, now the sanctioning bodies has all gotten involved to make the Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas fight happen, and they're just tired of seeing these guys not fighting nobody. Well, really all the other sanctioned bodies want them to fight each other. The WBA has been on a hot streak of not wanting to fight the best of the best, and we're finally going to get this fight between Yordenis Ugas and Errol Spence Jr. But here's the catch: if the WBA does not comply, Errol Spence Jr., I believe, Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford, they are going to go into negotiations immediately. Al Haymon and other sanctioned bodies are going to do whatever it takes to make this fight happen between Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. That will be a massive fight, massive unification bout between the two. And it's going to be a huge fight, and I really want to see that fight. And we've seen how Bob Arum failed to make the fight for Terrence Crawford over the years, and Terrence Crawford's a free bird now, so it gives Terrence Crawford the opportunity to fight Errol Spence Jr. finally, and finally we can see these guys continue and move on with the career if this fight happens and come to fruition. So Al Haymon himself as well is petitioned to make sure the WBA get this unification bout between Yordenis Ugas and Errol Spence Jr. But knowing the WBA, guys, we don't know what to expect from the WBA. But if all goes planned and well, that means Errol Spence Jr. defeats Yordenis Ugas. We can finally get the big fight in maybe towards the later of the year, maybe like September or October of the year, and that's going to be a massive unification bout between Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. And also Brian Castano versus Jermell Charlo's on for 2, and Devin Haney and Tank did good on their fights. They both won. I kind of did want to make a video yesterday about Tank Davis. Well, he didn't struggle. Well, Tank, because he broke his hand, but Tank Davis, he doesn't get credit for a lot of things, and what I've seen of what he did to Isaac Pitbull Cruz to edge it out and win it, he did great things. But with that being said, be expecting to see Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas in a unification bout in February 22. That's if maybe February 22 for February the 20th, either one of those dates, later February. But that's if the WBA will comply and say, look, okay, we're going to give you this. Okay, but according to what Gilbert Mendoza and stuff like that, they are repetitioning Yordenis Ugas to repetitioning and signing up for Yordenis Ugas to fight Errol Spence Jr. because they did make a contract that Yordenis Ugas can fight Errol Spence in a unification bout, and they tell Yordenis Ugas, no, you got to compete in this tournament. And they're probably going to make Yordenis Ugas fight Yordenis. Nobody knows who Yordenis is. Yordenis is a rising fighter. He's a great boxer, but he's not ready for a caliber or a big fight. And it's amazing me how they're giving these young cats fights on their amateur backgrounds and stuff like that, because basically they're grown men fighting kids and amateurs. And this is how they're getting title shots, because they're getting knockouts over these guys and stuff like that. But Yordenis is not ready for Yordenis Ugas. I really hope that the WBA petition and overturn this, that Yordenis Ugas can fight Errol Spence Jr. in a massive unification bout, because your title, your brand will be on the line with the other sanctioned bodies as well. We're ready for an undisputed champion at welterweight. We're ready to make history. We're going to see if either Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence Jr. can back up the trash talk for all these years. I personally think that Errol Spence Jr. beats Terrence Crawford. It's not going to be by knockout. It's going to be by decision, because I think one of these guys is going to lose their composure in the fight. I just think that Errol Spence Jr. has a better composure. I think Errol Spence Jr. stay focused. I think Errol Spence Jr., despite the size difference that Terrence Crawford, I believe Terrence Crawford is a little bit more stronger than Errol Spence Jr. because he's wiry and strong. I think that it wasn't phase Errol Spence Jr. I think Errol Spence Jr. is just going to give him a tough time, as so as Terrence Crawford is, but I think Errol is going to edge it out. I got to ride with the truth on this one. But guys, this is some big news. We could be expecting to get a lot of big fights. And also, I wanted to state this as well. If Errol Spence Jr., let's say he claims all the belts, beats Terrence Crawford and Yordenis Ugas, Errol Spence Jr. already states that he's not staying at 147 anymore longer. Okay? It's just too much talk, too much taxing on his body, too much. I can understand he's a grown man at 147 pounds. It's getting taxing to make. He's going to go up to 154. He feels like he's comfortable there. Which that means Jermell Charlo need to hurry up and clean up the division. You know, I don't support the Charlos, but I would rather see him clean up the division, because I don't think Brian Castano's leaving the division. But Jermell Charlo also stated that once Errol comes to 154, he's going to leave and go to 160. So which that means Jermall Charlo will go up to 168, and we could potentially see a David Benavidez fighting Jermall Charlo, but I highly doubt that will happen because of the clout chasing and stuff with Jermall Charlo. And Canelo Alvarez is going to vacate all the belts. He's going to move up to 190 or cruiserweight limit. Be expecting, for my Canelo Alvarez fans on the channel, be expecting Canelo Alvarez. He's not coming back down to 168. Like I said before, if Canelo Alvarez goes back down from 190 to 168, he's going to do damage to his body. We've seen that with Roy Jones, okay? It takes a lot of abilities and a lot of stuff that you got used to when you go up into a higher weight. But we'll see what happens with the Charlo twins and all the other stuff. But to recap on this, guys, be expecting Errol Spence Jr. versus Yordenis Ugas for a unification bout. If the WBA complies and say, look, okay, we're not going to make you fight Yordenis. We apologize, Ugas. We're going to make you fight Errol Spence Jr. for a unification bout. That would be big news. It could be potentially to happen, according to Gerber Mendoza. He says they're trying to overturn it. We're going to see what's going to happen. Hopefully they overturn it and stuff like that, but I highly doubt it's happened. But if it does, be expecting Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Crawford in February. And the decision will be today. So be on the lookout for the WBA to make their final choice on this fight of Yordenis Ugas versus Errol Spence Jr. With that being said, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.